worthy Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Sajid Mahmood Shahzad, honorable and internationally reputed dignitaries, guests, Professor Dr. Barnard Vasalavan, Professor Dr. Jonathan, Professor Dr. Haynes Garton, Professor Dr. Afsar Rathore, Professor Dr. Bauman, Secretary General Minhaj al-Quran International Khurram Nawaz Karnapur, Vice President Minhaj al-Quran International, retired Brigadier Iqbal Ahmed, other representatives of various national and international organizations, academicians, professors, faculty members, and very dear audience, students of Minhaj University, Lahore, and other universities of Lahore. First of all, I would like to congratulate School of Political Science and School of Peace and Counter-Terrorism Studies of Minhaj University, Lahore, to come together to host such a beautiful conference at the university on a very important and hot topic. So for that, I would like to congratulate Dr. Yasir Khan, Ms. Gayer, Dr. Adil Irfan, and our Dean of Social Sciences for this wonderful effort. And I pray to God for the success of this conference, and I believe the students and participants of this conference will get an opportunity to learn from all these dignitaries and well-qualified, renowned intellectuals and practitioners from all over the world. Dear audience, as the topic of this conference, which covers environmental issues of the region, counter-terrorism, and of course the irregular migration. So all three areas are related to the security of the country, security of the people, and security of the region. So when we talk about the security, so I must say the concept of national security has changed recently a lot. From a national security, it has moved towards human security at large. And that has become a new discussion all over the world in academic circles as well as in practitioners. It is a very broad concept. What is human security, what we are talking about? And my today's talk would be focused on human security, dealing with all these three areas as a challenges for this region and exclusively for Pakistan. The security of people and not just the territory. Human security is security of individuals and not just the nations. Security through development and not just through the arms. Security of people everywhere, in their homes, in their jobs, in their streets, in their communities, and in their environments. Dear audience, the concept of human security is defined as freedom from fear, freedom from want, and life with dignity. Freedom from fear refers to the protection of individuals from direct threats to their safety and physical integrity. Freedom from want refers to the protection of basic needs and economics, social and cultural aspects of life and livelihood. Life with dignity refers to the promotion of an improved quality of life and enhancement of human welfare that permits people to make choices and seek opportunities that empowers them. Dear audience, beyond territorial security, human security focuses on two types of threats. The first is more localized threat, which are particular to different societies and regions and vary by level of development and geographical location. And the second type of threat is a globalized one, which could spill beyond national frontiers. For example, one of the transnational threat, example of a transnational threat could be 9/11 attack in New York, which led to the invasion of Afghanistan by US armed forces. And the second example of a transnational threat could be COVID-19, which was the communicable disease the world has faced. According to Human Development Report 1994, there are 7 specific values which furnishes the concept of human security at large, which are economics, food, health, environment, personal safety, community protection, and political security. If we talk about economic security, so that requires an assured basic income or from government-financed social safety net for the people of the country. Food security requires all people at all times should have both physical and economic access to basic food. Health security requires access to health care and service. Environmental security requires a healthy physical environment and security from environmental threats. Personal security requires a protective environment that prevents violence in the society. And community security requires security from oppressive traditional practices and discriminatory practices in any society or country. And political security requires respect for human rights, protection from extra-territorial military exercises or abuse, and from political undue influences in the society. Human security demands human development to start with. This is very important. I want the students to focus on this area. Human security demands human development to start with. The human development concept is concerned first with building human capabilities through investment in people, and secondly, using those capabilities fully through an enabling environment for growth and employment of people. So for human development to take place, economic growth is an essential for any country. It may be developing or developed. The link between growth, human development, and security to be created through investment in education. This is very important. Health sector, skill development, job creation, women empowerment, and equitable distribution of assets. When we talk about national security, if we talk about regional security, or peace at large in the world. So it is important to look into human security and not just the security of territories, and not just the security of institutions, not just the security of nation, but every single individual and its security, and all those aspects which are related to the security of that individual. I believe that would be the future, and that is the future of security, not just in this region, but in the world. The link between human rights and human security is equally necessary. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Declaration on the Right to Develop assert the civil and political rights, as well as economic, social, and cultural rights. Human cultural rights constitute an integral part of human security. Human development can enrich people's lives, while human security can protect those lives. Dear audience, if we look at the history from where this concept of human security all started, so the first application in terms of measuring the level of human security was undertaken by UNICEF for selected Asian countries in 2010. And if you look at 2010's Human Security Index, so you find Pakistan has an overall Human Security Index value which is 0.499. And if you can look at the screen, you would have a separate independent heads. What are the figures and values where Pakistan stands according to 2010 Human Security Index? And Pakistan was ranked low at 19th percentile of countries, below Sri Lanka, China, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand, Turkey, and Vietnam. And if you talk about environmental fabric index, that was low. Social fabric index was low. Peacefulness was quite low on index. Governance was very low on index. Health index, food security, wherever you see. So Pakistan could not score well on that human security index. So when human security index tells you something, or the country or a nation cannot provide a proper human security to the individual which forms a nation by coming together. So what we can expect when we talk about national security or regional security? There is a lot of spillover effects which we'll be talking about in the other sections. Dear audience, potentially the greatest threat to lives and property in Pakistan is act of terrorism, which is again a part of this conference, a topic is part of, which started right after 9/11 in the war in Afghanistan, which costed around 80,000 lives with economic loss of over $225 billion. The peak of act of terror was in 2014 after the attack on children in Army Public School. There was a consensus after that on the National Plan Against Terrorism, which was in December 2014, which was very effectively implemented by Pakistan's military, and the movement was called Zarb-e-Azm. At the same time, parallelly, another movement was launched, which was called Zarb-e-Amn, that was launched by Sheikhul Islam, Professor Dr. Muhammad Tahirul Qadri, the veteran and Chairman Board of Governors of Minhaj University, Lahore, and Minhajul Quran International. The movement was called Zarb-e-Amn, which means stroke of peace. And the movement focused on promoting peace and fighting terrorism through ideas and education. By teaching tolerance and understanding, Zarb-e-Amn worked to decrease extremism and bring people together of all faith. This movement supported the military's action in the field by tackling the spread of extremist beliefs and ideas in Pakistani society. Another problem which brings Pakistan really low on human security index is Pakistan's low, its almost default, financial default position because of very low foreign exchange reserves in presence of large external financial requirements for external debt repayment and for financing the current account deficit in the balance of payments. The level of external debt as of end December 2022 stood at 126 billion, which is equivalent to 39% of the total GDP of the country. It has risen sharply from less than 25% of the GDP, which was in 2015 and 16. Another problem which we all face and which is as a topic part of this conference, irregular and illegal migration. All these factors, they come together to make people do such moves which make them lose their lives. Scores of migrant workers lose their lives in attempt to illegally enter in the lands of opportunities that may be in Europe, in other parts of the world. According to various media reports, they suggest at least 20,000 Pakistanis, they have lost their lives in their bid to cross Mediterranean Sea since 2014, in last 10 years. The human smuggling has also become a new human tragedy in this part of the world and in this region. Why? Because human security is at threat. The people cannot get a right employment to fill up their food baskets. When the basic needs and necessities are not filled and looked after well by the governments, people take such initiatives to migrate even illegally where they lose their lives. In Pakistan, a national security policy for 2022 to 2026 was announced on 14th of January 2022, which represents a major step forward from traditional notion of security as defense, military preparedness and sovereignty. The focus was announced now that the policy is to take a holistic approach and include human security and well-being of citizens, underlining their pragmatic shift in the emphasis on economic security, promoting equitable economic development, and removing regional disparities. However, this citizen-centric policy is still to be implemented in the country. Dear audience, as we all have understood by now, that the national security depends on human security. And human security depends on human development. And human development depends on national growth. So these all areas are interconnected. You cannot achieve them independently. They all come together as a package. The desired goals for any country can only be achieved through a serious partnership between developing country and developed country. The developed countries, I believe, should come forward to help this country with a lot of potential to achieve the sustainable development goals set by United Nations for social welfare and human development of developing countries by extending opportunities of training and investment in different trades and sectors. This technical cooperation will not only control illegal migration, but also prevent the youth from falling prey to the exploitation of terrorist groups of this region. A UNICEF report reveals Pakistan is atop the list of countries with a young population in Asia. The population of Pakistan aged 10 to 24 years is 64.4 million. Every year, around 1.2 million children are joining the age group of 10 to 24. Almost 50% of Pakistan's population consists of youth, but regrettably, 32.4 million children are still out of schools in this country. Pakistan boasts a youth bulge, which approximately 60% of its population under the age of 30. The demographic representation presents both challenges and opportunities at the same time in Pakistan. Without adequate opportunity for education for this size of youth population, employment and empowerment, this youth cohort become a liability leading to socio-economic instability. However, with the right investment, right type of strategy, these young individuals can become a formidable asset driving innovation, productivity and progress for the country, and not just for the country, but the whole world at large. The repercussion of neglecting Pakistan's youth by the government and by other countries which are associated and related. Youth extend far beyond its border. Neglecting Pakistan's youth extend far beyond its border. which will have an effect on the whole region. A disenfranchised and disillusioned youth population is susceptible to exploitation by extremist elements, becoming a breeding ground for radicalization and violent extremism. This has not only threatened the internal security of Pakistan, but also undermine the regional security and stability as well. As radicalized individuals, groups may seek to export their ideologies and violence across borders, destabilizing the neighboring countries as well as the peace of the world. We have witnessed such incidents in many countries and parts of the world, for example, Afghanistan, where poverty, unemployment, and insecurity are widespread. Extremist groups and warlords exploited the grievances of the population, offering a distorted sense of justice and stability. Similarly, in parts of Africa, this plague was poverty, corruption, and lack of infrastructure. Groups like Boko Haram capitalize on the dissatisfaction and need of the marginalized community, recruiting different youngsters for their cause and promising empowerment to them, and they use them for the violence and other extremist purposes. So if those were such a small size of countries with a very small size of young population, if they can be exploited and used for undue and not so desired and wanted objectives, the bad objectives, to what to talk about a country with 150 million young population and youngsters. If they are not guided on the right track, if they are not provided with the right amount of employment, if they are not driven by the right type of strategy, can we imagine if these 150 million youngsters fall prey under the hand of extremist groups of the region? What will happen not just to the country, not just to the region, but to the world at large? So that's what I said. This huge population is opportunity and challenge at the same time. We can convert into a great opportunity, not just for the country, but the whole world at large. Or if we neglect it, that can turn into a great disappointment and liability, not again for the country, but for the whole region and for the whole world at large. Dear audience, as I mentioned, that these developing countries need a strong partnership by developed countries. Just to give you a little example, what is happening in the region and what the country needs. If we look at India, over the past 5 years, India has received 251 billion in direct foreign investments. In comparison, Pakistan could have only attracted 9.6 billion in direct foreign investment during the same period. You can understand the difference. India has signed trade agreements with Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, Switzerland that includes commitment of 100 billion investment in creating 1 million direct jobs in India in the next 15 years, according to the reports. Again, the current British Prime Minister has introduced easy policies for Indians who could come and study in India and in Britain and migrate to Britain. And for educational visas, this year, 148,000 Indians will travel and migrate to Britain only, looking for the opportunity. Whereas Pakistan is unfortunately not enjoying such facilities and support system by various government. I don't blame the governments, other countries. We have to look ourselves, our own policies, our own relations, the level of relationship with these countries, and what we are gaining for our country. Similarly, in IT sector, India has received $98 billion in foreign investment. Additionally, an Indian automobile sector industry has attracted around $34 billion in direct foreign investments. But on the other hand, Pakistan is losing its foreign investment. No infrastructure development. No countries are coming here to invest in the country. So I have a serious concern. What will happen to that 150 million youngsters who are under the age of 30? Will they really fall prey in the hands of extremist groups? Or will they play their role in destabilizing their own country or region, looking for various forms to fill their food baskets? Dear audience, according to European Union report, in next 10 years, only European Union needs around 50 million migrant professionals, labor workers. This is, according to the report, this is what the European Union seriously need. Today, we have a lot of great intellectuals, dignitaries from all over the Europe. I want to attract your attention towards this matter. Europe needs this size of a number. So why can't these countries, developed countries, we work with Pakistan? Attracting, motivating, inviting these youngsters with a lot of capabilities, with a lot of potentials, by investing in their skills, by investing in their education right from the beginning, by investing in their training, by investing in infrastructure as a direct investments in the country in various industries and sectors of the country, where they could get employment, where they could get right type of training so that they can migrate to all these countries and benefit not just their own country, but all over the world, including Europe. Dear audience, it is not the first time Pakistanis would do or support or help. UK is a great example. I remember in 1960s when UK was developing and UK needed a great support, they invited a lot of great minds from Pakistan, and Pakistanis were there to help them develop their health sector, develop their steel industry, develop their textile industry, develop their engineering sector, and many more areas. That's why today UK's population, Pakistani population, is 1.5 million in 2021. And the mayor of London is Pakistani. And the chief minister of Scotland comes from Pakistan again. Wherever Pakistanis have gone, they have integrated really well with these countries. And I believe Pakistanis and these young population can prove a great asset for all these countries, who will assist them to come and migrate legally and not illegally to their country. They will be a great support for these countries. And I want to come up with a slogan. I want to give those words to the students sitting here after discussing all that. What Pakistani nation really needs. No loans, no aid. No loans, no aid. Country needs trade. No loan, no aid. Country needs trade. We need trade. We need foreign investments. We don't need loans. We don't need the trap of loans. This will never help the country come out of the crisis. This will never help the country to come out of that repayment cycle. This will eliminate the country from the map if that continues. So we all need to think hard. And as I have mentioned, as a nation, we are looking forward towards our brother nations and countries who can come together not to give loan to Pakistan, but to invest there in skills, to trust the nation, to trust the youngsters of the nation, and we're investing directly in their skills, or maybe not through the governments. We believe if direct investments could be made in education sector, in vocational training sector of the country, in different sectors, industries, there a change, I can expect a great change which can come and change the future of the country. So just in the end, mentioning some of the sectors of cooperation which can bring change in the country and help the youngsters and 60% population of this country. One major sector is education and skill development area. Through universities, a lot of partnerships can be offered by these countries to the universities of Pakistan and to the industries and vocational training institutions of Pakistan. Then entrepreneurship and innovation, financing could be provided to the young entrepreneurs of the country. Financing could be provided for different initiatives and new startups of the country. At the same time, some direct investments in various automobile sector, maybe that could be engineering, agriculture, IT sector, other incubators. Some direct investments are really needed in Pakistan so that we can get get the youngster, 60% youth of this country rightly used for the country. And job creation is necessary and must for the country. And this foreign direct investment and technical training support will provide these youngsters with this kind of jobs and employment within the country and abroad by the right type of migration. If we all can sit together and think hard, because this is important, this is not just a matter of Pakistan living 150 million youngsters on their own. Of course, the primary first responsibility lies on the shoulders of the government of that country. But as this world has become a global village, everyone is connected and linked to everyone. So this is important that this whole world, especially those elder brothers and countries who have done great for their nations and for their countries, it is a time to think hard for Pakistanis and those 150 million youngsters and their future. Because if their future is secure, I believe the security of this region, security of this country, and security of this world is secure. In the end, I would again like to congratulate the Department of Political Science at Minhaj University, Lahore, School of Counterterrorism Studies, and all the organizers for organizing such a beautiful conference at this time of year. And I would again like to thank all the dignitaries and honorable guests who have joined this conference at Minhaj University from all over the world. I wish you all a good luck for the rest of the day and pray that this university, the country, and the world flourishes and achieve the ultimate peace which we all desire and need. Thank you very much.